Hey everyone, coming on live today in our wellness community to talk about an important piece of the puzzle in how we feel on a regular basis, right? We're kicking off the Happy Challenge this month. So why not talk about our happy hormone, right? So I'm Colleen Sullivan, ADHD holistic coach, mom of two grown kids, kind of been through it all, and kind of that's what brought me here to be a mental wellness advocate, to help other families understand these missing links, right? So if you're coming on live, put live in the comments. If you're catching it on the replay, put replay so we can circle back and answer any questions. So Melissa, first of all, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thanks.
Yeah. What I find fascinating as I kind of dived into this whole mind-gut connection is that 90 to 95% of our serotonin is produced in the gut, right?
Yeah.
And so we talk about mind-gut in this group. We talk about the holistic solutions that support this science because it is science. So I thought I'd have you come on and share more about what you know because you explain it so clearly.
Thanks. Yeah, serotonin is pretty fascinating because it's a neurotransmitter and a hormone. And all that means as a neurotransmitter, it works in the nervous system. And then as a hormone, it works kind of in the periphery, in the rest of the body. So it's really all over. And it's one of the oldest known, most ubiquitous neurotransmitters / hormones. It's in almost every aerobic organism. So think about that. Plants that are like undergoing photosynthesis have serotonin. Like we joke, like, are plants happy? I don't know, maybe because they have serotonin, you know? So it's pretty amazing. Serotonin is just across the board. And we associate serotonin, we call it the happy neurotransmitter or happy hormone. Really what it gives people is a feeling of contentment, a feeling that things are okay. That's the best description of what serotonin is giving you.
So yes, we don't have to feel like this ecstatic joy and happiness. It's like we're okay.
Right? And it's interesting you bring that up. I mean, I want to talk about connection to mood, but serotonin is really connected to social connection. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting that you bring up this feeling, this really strong feeling of like, you know, huge, overwhelmed, oh my God, I'm in love with the world. That's actually oxytocin. And oxytocin is secreted in moments of like extreme connection, like when you're nursing a baby, right? Like real extreme connection. Most of the connection that we have, it's serotonin. So it's not like, oh my God, I want to cradle you in my arms feeling. It's, oh, it's really good to be around you. Like all is right with the world. So it's really interesting. So we've studied serotonin for mood for many, many years. The whole SSRI class of medications are serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So they prevent serotonin from kind of being metabolized. So there's more serotonin around. That's what that whole class of drugs do. Like Prozac, Zoloft, there's a bunch of them. So serotonin has been studied in mood because it gives a sense of contentment. But what's really interesting is it has so many other effects in the body. And they relate to mood too. And this is the part that is great for us to have a conversation about. It's not just that serotonin is making us feel better in the brain. What it's really doing is other pieces of the gut puzzle. So serotonin is heavily involved in gut motility. And why is that important? If we don't digest our food really, really well, we're going to have a lot of imbalance in the gut. And so with that imbalance comes a lot of inflammation and a lot of imbalance of our neurotransmitters, not just serotonin, but all of these other chemicals that we want to feel good and energized and motivated, right? Dopamine, norepinephrine for focus, GABA for calm. So serotonin is almost acting as this agent to help us digest our food in a really good way.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And then there's another paper. It's very funny we're talking today. It was published today by the NIH. I'm always happy to share it. I will say I read it. It's a bit of a slog to get through. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's why we have you here to interpret
it. Was a slog. It was a slog, but I did get through it. But what this paper was talking about is how serotonin is really important for the integrity of our intestinal lining. So why does that matter? Well, whatever we're putting in our body, we want there to be a big barrier between that and our bloodstream. Because if there's not a good barrier, that's inflammation. And we're going to have a whole other conversation about inflammation, but really inflammation is like a tangling of the signal. So even if you had all the right components, none of them get through the tangle and the maze if you have a lot of inflammation. So serotonin's role in helping seal up our gut lining and with gut integrity is also key for that inflammatory control, right? So it does help us feel better, but it has all these other roles in the gut that also help us feel better.
Wow. So I always thought of the gut as the master conductor of, all our systems and keeping everything in check. But serotonin is almost the master, like, neurotransmitter, or the master.
There's so many pieces to this puzzle. Wow. And that's the part that's tricky, is it's so complex. So it's not like you can just add in some serotonin and we're good. Because it's really the balance of neurochemicals that makes us feel good. But it's also that serotonin's only working in an environment where it can flourish. And that's the key. We need a whole ecosystem that's working in concert and that's flourishing. And so that's why when we talk about getting to the root cause, it's always coming back to building an ecosystem where we have more serotonin and GABA and norepinephrine, but we also have kind of these other players that we don't talk about or think about that are allowing all of these hormones and neurotransmitters to do their work, get where they need to go, create mucus in the lining. Like, there's so many components.
Yeah. Yeah. So when we feel off or we don't feel our best, it's not just, take more serotonin.
Not one thing. It's not one thing.
Yes. It's not one thing. It's really a collection of these neurotransmitters, these brain.
It is. And the other thing that is a great way to think about it is at any moment in the day, you need a different level of these neurochemicals. And so what our gut gives us is like this as needed pharmacy for not only what we need, but when we need it. And the when we need it part is critical because you can't exogenously try to give yourself what you need and have it be dynamic moment to moment. Only when you build it from the ground level up are you able to, have this pharmacy that's doling out what you need exactly at the right time you need it, right? Because when you have a presentation or a speech to give or something that you're a little nervous about, you need a different chemical balance than when you're reading a book or when you're spending time with your family or, when you're trying to kind of creatively, build something or think about a problem and solve something. So
yeah, that's where the diversity of our gut comes into play, right? So how does our serotonin levels impact our sleep? So we can, feel certain things during the day, but how does that affect us on the back end, Melissa, when we're trying to get a good night's sleep and avoid that vicious cycle of getting a poor night's sleep and then we're feeling poorly and then we're on the wrong hamster wheel, right?
Yeah. And we've all been there, right? Even those of us who, right, we try to do the best we can and are really careful. I mean, there are times, so serotonin is heavily involved in sleep. Serotonin is essentially the molecule that turns into melatonin at night and allows us to sleep. So it's really part of our day-night cycle. Serotonin also, and I can't believe I didn't mention it, but I've just been like rambling for 10 minutes, is one of the ways that our stress response gets shut off, right? So increased serotonin and GABA help turn off kind of the push of stress hormones like cortisol and epinephrine. And cortisol really disrupts our sleep.
Yep.
Sleep is so interesting because we know sleep is so important. And if you don't get good sleep, right, it does become the vicious cycle where it really does play a role in what your gut's going to look like. It changes the composition. So then you're producing less serotonin. Then you're probably not going to sleep as well. And it kind of continues and continues and continues. And that's an awful cycle to be in, but very preventable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to come back onto the group tomorrow and talk more about like the solutions that we can look at to make sure we have this diverse gut microbiome. But this is the one product in our Happy Juice pack that, and Melissa, you can kind of share more, that increases our serotonin levels, kind of keeps our cortisol levels lower, and it takes care of some of creating some of these neurotransmitters that you're talking about, because we can't really get what we need from our diet and from all the environmental factors, our lifestyle, our stress. So this product is, for that. And
yeah,
right. So anything else you want to share with the group, Melissa, about serotonin?
I don't think so. I'm always happy to answer questions. So if you put questions, I'm happy to try and answer them. But, thinking about this malleable, dynamic pharmacy is a really good way to think about what our gut can do for us.
I love that. I love that. So guys, if you found value in this conversation, put value in the comments, any questions. If you want to know more about our Happy Challenge that we are kicking off this week, put happy in the comments and tag the person who invited you to this group, so we can share that information with you. We're going to be coming on live a lot this month, sharing lots of great nuggets for you, your family. Guess what, guys? Your kids can do this Happy Challenge with you. Okay, we have a gut product for the kids. We have adult. We can all share in this challenge to just, I don't know, just feel better, right?
Yeah.
That's what this group is all about. So make sure you put replay. If you're catching on the replay, we'll circle back, and stay tuned for more great stuff.
Thanks, Melanie.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Melissa.